Hey everybody, hope you're all having a good morning today. Teching and Barry back again. Well, I'm sure a lot of you have already heard this news. It's been pretty big in the One Piece community the past couple of days. We were actually all doing a live stream. We were on Jay's channel. We were doing the Agenda Reverie when this news dropped, so we kind of had a reaction to it in like real time. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link up here to that stream over on Jay's channel. And it's like, yeah, like a bunch of One Piece creators in this stream all at once, and then this information dropped, and we get like our initial reactions to it. But for those of you that haven't heard, Kazuki Yao, who was the original voice actor for Franky in the Toei One Piece anime, has decided to step down from the role, and a new voice actor for Franky is going to get selected, or be announced, already selected, but going to be announced December 22nd at this year's Jump Festa. I'm going to read just the quote that Kazuki Yao put out, and then we'll go on and, talk about it further. The time has come for a bittersweet farewell. After spending nearly a quarter of a century together, it feels almost surreal, but I've realized there's a growing gap between myself and the Franky I've always envisioned. And so I've decided to step off the sunny for now. I'm frustrated, I'm sad, I'm truly sorry. However, we found a super replacement. Stay tuned for the big announcement on December 22nd at Jump Festa. So, many of you might be wondering why exactly he stepped down if you aren't like caught up with it. So whenever I pictured Kazuki Yao in my mind, I always thought of this image right here, right? This is his like headshot, like his cool like industry photo, and he looks like a cool dude. He looks like Franky, right? Right? He looks like Franky. He's got the shirt, and he's just got like the attitude of just like, yeah. And by the way, fantastic. I mean, he's done a lot of other voices, but in One Piece, he voices Franky, Bon Clay, and Django. And Django was actually recast earlier this year, like around October. I think that was announced in episode 1121, because Django had not been in the story for quite some time, and he got brought back in that episode when Brand New was showing the battleship bags to Full Body and Django. They were used in that scene, and it was announced that, like, oh yeah, Kazuki Yao is not going to be playing Django anymore. He's going to be played by Wataru Takagi, and we'll get back to Wataru in a moment, because the idea, like when we were doing the stream, Randy came in, Randy Troy, I'll put a link to his stuff below, and he gave a bunch of information about this that I did not know about. Like, Wataru Takagi played Zoro in the original One Piece OVA, Defeat the Pirate Gonzak, and then he is now playing Django, so the idea is perhaps maybe Wataru is going to take over Kazuki Yao as Franky. I think he would do a fantastic job. We don't know yet, but that's like the general consensus right now, but we'll find out at Jump Festa this year. And then also Bon Clay, who Bon Clay has been down in New Kama Land and Impel Down for quite some time. We haven't gotten a speaking role from Bon Clay in a very long time. So, eventually though, Bon Clay will return, and he will also have to be recast. Yeah, this is Kazuki Yao, right? And this is how I always pictured the man whenever I thought about the voice actor for Franky, this very energetic, vibrant kind of dude. And about a month ago, I was on the One Piece Reddit, and I saw a photo that was Kazuki Yao with Masako Nozawa, who plays Goku, okay, and has played Goku for decades, right? And you got to keep in mind, I mean, these anime, have been running for a very, 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 very long time. I mean, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and everything since the 80s and into the 90s, and now Dragon Ball, like it's like a resurgence in the last decade or so with everything. So Masako has been playing Goku for a very long time. She is 88 years old, and Kazuki Yao has been playing Franky for nearly 20 years. I mean, he's been part of the One Piece anime alumni for quite some time, because Bon Clay appeared before Franky and Django even before Bon Clay. So pretty much since the very beginning, since Syrup Village here. Yeah, Kazuki Yao is 65 and Masako is 88. So keep that in mind when I show you this picture of them standing next to each other. And that's when I started to become extraordinarily concerned for his health. Because as you can see here, he has lost quite a bit of weight, and he just doesn't look good. He reminds me a lot of my grandfather when he was diagnosed with cancer. I'm looking at this and I'm just like, okay, he's probably going to step down very soon. I don't think he's going to be playing Franky anymore. Now, I don't know what the situation is with his health because that hasn't been made, public. At least I don't think it is. I haven't seen anything relating to exactly what it is, like, officially. So I'm not going to speculate beyond just, like, he reminds me of, like, my own grandfather there, but I have no idea what it is. But I think it is time for him to step down and retire and get some rest, and hopefully, because he's not that old. He's only 65 years old. He's younger than my dad, which is, like, to see him like this is very, very startling. So I'm hoping whatever it is, they can, treat it and he can make a recovery. Now, he does say here, I've decided to step off the Sunny for now. I'm hoping that this is just him saying, like, I can't do the Franky voice, or the Franky voice is deteriorating quite a bit here, or perhaps I need to go away and, get some treatments for something. And hopefully at some point I'll be able to return to this role in some capacity at some point. So he is hopeful for that, and I wish him and his family all the best in this trying time. And now he's played this role of Franky for almost 20 years, which is, to me, because I remember watching One Piece, and when Franky was revealed as the 8th Straw Hat, I remember thinking, like, wow, that's, because I was watching, like, the 4Kids dub, and I only knew about Franky from, like, random posts online and stuff like that back when I had, like, dial-up internet, right? So it's like, whoa, they're gonna get a shipwright, and his name's Franky, and he's a robot? That's crazy. Like, so for me, it was like a very clear divide between, like, okay, the original Straw Hats are like Luffy up to Robin, and then Franky and Brook, because it was just Franky and Brook at the time, and then Jinbei. Those are the brand new Straw Hats. And even though Franky has, been part of this for so long now, it's still like that registers that way in my head. But yeah, Franky's first appearance, Kazuki Yao playing him in the anime, was May 22nd, 2005. So, like I said, he's been part of the One Piece anime for well over 20 years, but he's been playing Franky for nearly 20 years, and that is, to me, just a ridiculous amount of commitment. And also, like, all the other cast members of the Straw Hats, I mean, they're getting on in years, right? I looked this up during the stream because I was just curious, and the youngest voice actor for the Straw Hats, the 10 Straw Hats, is Nami's voice actress, who is 55. The oldest is Jinbei's, who is 78. So they have been at this for quite some time now, and they are all professionals in this field. Something else we brought up on the stream, and I'm not just going to, repeat everything there. You can go check it out. But we were talking about the new One Piece anime, the Wit Studio anime coming out, and how they're most likely just going to get a whole new voice cast here. And I've talked about that before in videos, and I think that's probably the best, just because a lot of these voice actors are getting very, very old. But it's like a testament to how long these series have really lasted and persisted. Something else that I'm reminded of here is that, so I'm a big fan of The Simpsons. I was a really big fan of like, before I was into anime and like Naruto and Bleach and One Piece and stuff, I was into The Simpsons back in like middle school, right? And I haven't watched The Simpsons, like, newer stuff. Like, I'll pop in every now and then, and I go on and, like, to an episode, like, one of the recent episodes, and Marge's voice, I can tell, has, like, oh, that's gotten much, much rougher since the early days, and it's just because these voice actors are getting really, really old, man. That's just how it is. But in this situation with Kazuki Yao, I mean, I think it's, something else is going on here beyond just getting older. But it does give you an idea and a perspective. Luffy's voice actor, Mayumi Tanaka, she has said many times that, after the story is over, after the One Piece anime concludes, she is going to retire at that point. She's 69 years old. So, and I'm sure, some of the older members of the cast might have a similar kind of opinion on that. Like, One Piece is their swan song, their last big project, and then after that has concluded, they're going to take a much needed rest, as would Oda as well, I would assume. After Oda puts down his pen for the final chapter of One Piece, I think he's just like, all right, I'm going to take a break for a while. Yeah. I wanted to share you a story of the first time that I ever heard Franky's voice, and I was actually trying to think about this, like, do I remember when this happened? And I actually do. So I want to take you back to the year of probably 2008-ish, I want to say. So at this time, at my parents' house where I was living, I was around 14, 15 years old. We had dial-up internet, right? Which meant like you can't watch like any kind of video online. Like that's just not going to happen with dial-up. But my grandparents had high-speed internet. So every time, me and my dad would go down my grandparents' house, they had a little room upstairs with a little computer. So I would, hang out with them for a bit, and then I would go upstairs on the computer, and I would like, go on YouTube and stuff because we just couldn't do that at my house. So right around this time, I was getting back into One Piece because we were at like Walmart one night and the Alabasta movie was out. So this was like the first time I'd heard like the full Funimation cast. I think they had done like 4Kids. After 4Kids, they had switched to Funimation on TV. But I don't really remember that much about that. So this was like, okay, this is like the Alabasta movie. So that got me back into One Piece. That silly 4Kids show I used to watch a few years ago. And then I got like, well, it's the Japanese is probably way better. The Japanese anime is probably a little bit better, more consistent than 4Kids, I would assume. So I was down my grandparents' house and I was like, going on probably like Wikipedia and stuff and like reading about One Piece. And that's how I learned that like at this point, probably like '08 or '09, somewhere around there, I learned that like I know Franky was a Straw Hat at this point 100%, and I think it was also confirmed Brooke was a Straw Hat at this point too. So if like getting the years to like line up here on when that was the case, but I was like, what? They get a robot and a skeleton on their crew? That's crazy. And then because at this point, One Piece had not been airing. I mean, like, I think it ended after Skypiea. So it was like the end of Skypiea, and then it was the 8th movie that was dubbed, the Alabasta movie, and that was it. Like, they had not started with Long Ring Longland yet, or Water 7, or even like the G8 arc, I think was like the first time I saw the new dub of this, right? So I was kind of like in a, oh, okay, well, the dub is not happening, so I'm going to watch the Japanese version, right? So I remember being in that little tiny room up in my grandparents' house, which is way out in the woods, by the way. I'm up there, and I'm just like, I'm gonna look up to watch One Piece episodes, and it was probably some old like, it was like watchonepieceforfree.com or some shit like that from way back in the day. And that's where I first watched Water 7, and it was probably a very poorly quality, like 360p little video player I was watching on this computer. They had this big old, the big old clunky like brick monitors, no offense, Barry, giant monitor up there, and I'm just watching like Water 7 episodes. And that was when I first saw the episode with Franky, where Franky shows up and he's doing the dance, and Mozu and Kiwi are behind him, and he's just like, super! And I'm like, I like this guy. I like this guy. I like this voice. I like this robot cyborg person that's wearing a Speedo. Up until that point, Sanji was my favorite Straw Hat, okay? Because I remember Sanji being back in like 4Kids dub era. I was just like, oh, Sanji, he's cool. I like him. He's got a swirly eyebrow and he kicks things, right? But then Franky, as I spent more time with Franky, I was like, well, wait a minute, though. Franky, though. And the episode that cemented that for me, and probably watched it in the same setting, at my grandparents' place, was the episode where, I think I can even remember the name of the episode. It was like, my cola is the water of life. Like, I think that was the name of the episode. It was the episode where he gets charged up and he's finally able to beat Fukuro. Okay, and dude, I probably watched that episode. At the time, that was probably one of the episodes I'd watched, like, the most. Okay, because it was so damn cool when Franky gets the cola, Chopper finally throws him the right drink. You go through the vegetable juice, and then it was the tea, and he's like, I'm a farmer now. And just like, then it's like finally cola. He puts it in, and then Franky's theme cues up. And then he just, like, let's go. And then Fukuro's like, what would change because you put in some soda? And just like, God, Oshiro, and just like, boom! And just punches him clean out. Oh, that was how I was first introduced to Franky right there. And it was that moment where I was like, this is my new favorite Straw Hat. I've made my decision, and he still is. And he probably will always be. All right? Like, even if we get another member of the Straw Hat crew added, I don't see Franky being topped. I just don't. For more information on that, when I go back to my old Straw Hat discussion series, and I go through like all the reasons why I like Franky and why he's my favorite Straw Hat and everything like that. But what is your let's just say what is your favorite Kazuki Yao performance? Okay, so it doesn't even have to be One Piece. It can be any of the other plethora of anime that he has voiced characters in. It doesn't have to be Franky. If it is One Piece, it could be Django. It could be Bon Clay. Let me know down below. Just like share memories and stuff about this man and his voice acting talent and how he brought these characters to life. Because that's the job of a voice actor. That's what they do, and that's why they do it. You know what I mean? So yeah. And yeah, we'll be staying updated here, and I'll announce when the new voice actor for Franky. And I'm sure they've gotten, and it's mentioned here that like Kazuki also played like a role in like deciding who the new Franky was. I am sure they gave him that ability to like sit in and listen to his replacement. All right, and I'm sure he gave the thumbs up for whoever is going to be playing Franky. If it is Wataru Takagi, he also plays Bellamy. Vanderdecken, and Django currently, right? And then the Zoro in the OVA, which we need to talk about the Pirate Gonzak OVA at one point, the first ever One Piece animation, like the first time we see Luffy and Zoro and Nami animated. We got to talk about that at some point too. But yeah, let me know down below on that. Yeah, it's just not a particularly long video today, but I did just want to bring this up. So yes, good luck to Kazuki Yao, and I hope that he, whatever is happening, that he can recover from this and live many more years, and maybe at some point, for maybe just even just like a cameo role or something, he can voice Franky again for like one last time, one last ride, which it very clearly seems like he wants to do. He's very frustrated. I'm sad. I'm sorry, and I'm just like, hey man, it's okay. It's okay. We understand. Truly, the community understands if you have to step down. So thank you for all these wonderful years, Kazuki Yao. All right, that's the video. Hope you all enjoyed. I'm gonna end it out with a super. I feel like it's appropriate to end it out with a super. I'm gonna try to get it as close as I can here. Let's see. Super. That's not great, but that's the best I got. Okay, later everybody. Teching signing out.